Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I wanted to do another Bitwig video in response to a comment that I got on one of the previous ones, the Euclidean sequences or Euclidean rhythms in Bitwig, where somebody mentioned how they sort of felt that Bitwig was too much trouble and too much tweaking going on. Now that may be the case when you are working in the grid. It's part of the beauty of Bitwig is how complex it can be when you want it to be. But another thing that I really love about it is how fluid it is to get ideas out really, really quickly as well. Now, one thing that I've been super impressed with is the machine integration, or the Native Instruments Machine 2 integration as a controller inside of Bitwig. If you have a machine controller and you are using Bitwig, you should go check out the Bitwig website. There's a pretty extensive tutorial on how to set that up. The template files actually come in the installation of Bitwig. You can just install that into your machine and it'll work pretty much right out the box. And the way that they've implemented it is really nice, especially for sort of live looping and stuff. And I've never really been one for the sort of clip view workflow, but I am warming up to this. I've been using it a lot now to kind of just sketch out tracks initially, especially for the percussion sections and the sort of rhythm sections of a track. So I'm going to kind of just dive in and just quickly put together a little sketch for sort of like a progressive house, progressive trance track, but just to get down the drums and things using the browser from Maschine and kind of just showing you my workflow in doing so. So let's get straight to it and dive in and check this out. Okay, so I'm starting with a completely blank template here, and there's a few things you're going to probably want to set up before you get going. And that is the play settings up at the top here. We're going to turn on the post-recording action delay. We're going to set that to play recorded. So as soon as you've recorded something, it's going to start looping that instantly. With the record quantization set to 16th notes, and we're just going to be working with a single bar. I've got a shortcut that will double that amount if we need to add additional detail into a loop as well. And that should be pretty much, oh, we'll have a pre-roll as well of just one bar as well, which will help us just get some time before we start recording stuff. And that's pretty much it. So now getting around the tracks is pretty simple. Use the group buttons down here to move around. We can also just erase those as well, and inserting a new one is pretty simple. Just add that. We can use a browser over here. I can search through plugins using the encoders as well. But in this case, we may just actually jump over to samples. You can switch between samples, multi-samples, and so forth like this. I'll just go to my kicks, and we'll scroll through some of these. And to select one, there we go. It'll just load a sampler for you automatically. Now we're going to be looking at the clip view. We can get our tempo up to around 124 using the tempo control there. And let's maybe just double click on this first scene instead of recording something in there. Then we can switch over to the step sequencer and just put 4 kicks in like that. Hit play. And just on my other controller here, we'll set up a loop quickly. Just turn on the loop. Just go back to that section, hit play. And if we enable pattern, we can start and stop our kick there. Now, unfortunately, the step sequencer put this in too low. You can adjust that. I should have done it when we actually put the steps in, but we'll just bump that up to C3. So there we have a kick. Let's get in another channel now, and we'll go with browser. This time round, we'll change the creator to Bitwig, and we'll come down to E-hats. And we'll just insert that. And this time round again, we're also just going to double click here instead of recording something in, and I'm just going to put a single note into this channel. And let's keep this, yeah, let's keep this at 1 bar as well. And for this channel, we're just going to open up a note effect. So you can also use the browser again at any time, just to put your note effects. You'll see context sensitive, it'll bring up the note effects automatically, and we can then search again with this. We're going to be looking for note repeats. We'll bring one of those in. We'll set this to Euclidean and back to pattern, and we can hit play on this one. And we can now play around with our density here. Change the rotation slightly. Cool. So I'm going to just dive into my sample library. I often bring in samples from this section on the right here too. We'll just bring up the library and go down to Wave Alchemy. I use the trios stuff quite a lot at the moment for my drum samples. I'm not actually using the trios instrument, but just bringing in the samples. Start off with that. We can always change the sounds up later. And now to record something here, because we're in pattern mode, we've got this third one up here. If we load up this, it's going to start recording. And then we switch to pad mode to record those drums in. And there you go, it'll just instantly start looping them. Just bring the volume of this one down slightly. Bring in another hat sound there. Everything's automatically being quantized as well. Let's look for some tom sounds. In actual fact, let's add a new track in there. We'll go to browser. Once again, we'll just go to Bitwig. We'll come down to the etom and bring that in. So let's tune this one to an F. Anytime that there's a tune knob in Bitwig, you can of course just hold down Control, click, and then set this to say F0, for example. See what the frequency is there for that now. 43 might be a little bit low. Let's try F1. Okay. To get down to this one, we're going to select there. I can also adjust all the mixer settings from my keyboard. If I go into mixer mode, we'll be off camera now for you, but we can see we can adjust from the keyboard itself, as well as jump to mixer mode here, and you've got control over the mixer settings as well from Maschine 2. Let's bring in an instrument that I use a lot with this for some more organic sounding hats. So just browse, no, we can do that, we can add a new track, browser, and I'll use the search function to just bring in complete, hit the down key and enter, and that'll bring in complete control. And now I can switch over to complete control from my keyboard, and we can go and search for, we'll go vendors, and let's look for in-session audio. This is a great little library. They had a free one for a while. I don't think it's available anymore, but Shimmer Shake Strike, we're going to load that up. And here we go. So basically a huge amount of shaker instruments that you can load up, 3 of them at any time, and create pretty realistic sounding patterns with that. Let's go into the browser key and just find a 4/4 pattern. We'll tweak this one a little bit. All we're going to need for this is just a single note, and it's going to be down here on this one. And that should be fine for us. Now we can also just go back to our pattern mode and hit play. let's bring up complete control. We'll just edit this slightly. Get a little bit more of an accent on those offbeats. Some of the reverbs on these. Cool. Now again, the browser functionality also applies to your plugins as well. I'm not going to do too much mixing in this. I really want to just get the ideas out. But for example, if we have this focused down at the bottom, if we hit browser, it'll automatically bring up the effects section now. And I can, for example, just go EQ and bring down EQ2. I've saved my default patch to have a low cut filter there, so we can adjust that. Let's maybe bring in a few more little bits and pieces. In this case, maybe let's set up a drum kit. So we'll just go there and hit our browser once again, Bitwig, and we'll grab our drum machine for this. Cool thing with the drum machine is you can just drag samples in here. It'll work as a sampler, but you can also drag instruments in here as well. Which I'll cover in a video at some point for creating sort of grid patterns and stuff. You can load up different presets on these. The drum synthesizers from Bitwig will work in this one as well. And let me just put this other plug in here. Grab that too. This will default to pad mode as well, not keyboard mode. As soon as there's a drum machine involved, you'll see that will light up here now. And now we can just hit play once again. So in this case, I don't want these to be repeating as much. I want to have a little bit more sort of variation going on here. So let's just, I've got a shortcut for duplicate or this double content, which is Shift D. I've set that as a custom shortcut, so I can double content, and maybe we'll double that twice. So if we bring this in now, I can create a little bit more variation here. Maybe just take that one out there. And we can also add some effects directly just to one of these. That one's kind of wanting some reverb, I think. So we can just go and grab the Bitwig reverb from that too. And I think once again, add in an EQ here too. Cool. So that's a bit of a drum groove down there as well. Let's group all of these together now. Just Control G. We'll stick that in a drum group. I might normally pull the kick out of this group at some point, but we can just leave it there for now. We can also leave the drums in there and then regroup these as well if we want to do that, but we'll just do that. And I'm going to just assign these all a blue color so I know what they are. Let's start playing around with some synth stuff. Okay, you can see all the color coding works correctly as well with whatever we've done on screen. We've got all these blue ones now, I know, are drum groups. And also if you want to move, you'll see we've got 8 channels here now, so we've kind of filled up the group being there, and then 7 channels of drums. We've filled those up. If you just hold down shift, you can move to the next bank, and you'll see it's inserted instrument 2 on this next bank, which is green. And now we can browse for something else and start adding some sounds. So let's maybe go to our creators and come down to Yuhi, and we'll use one of my presets from Hive. I've used this quite a few times in tracks before, and this is actually in one of my Hive banks from the website. Let's double check third party. It's a preset called Inu. Now this one I'm going to just add in a block there again. We're going to hit Shift D again, so we get 2 bars, maybe 4 bars actually. We'll do that. And now this clip is there. Now we can also go to the top section here. If you don't have these, you can pin those from the play menu. You see these pins here. You can actually pin those to the top so that they're always available. And in this section here, the right clip launcher automation, and then also overdub playing launcher clips. Okay, we're going to do that. Select this one, play. So I want those to synchronize. There we go. Now we'll turn that on. Okay, I misjudged that, but it should all be fine. Just want to hit that first note there. Quickly get some sidechain compression in there. So we'll bring up that. Just type in dynamics. And device input, we're just going to grab the kick drum that we're using, the output from that. Okay, let's grab some other synth sounds. And this one will go with let's go with the Jupiter 8V. So we'll look at the presets. Some of these are on the Patreon page. You can go check that out. My sound banks. So go to these and take a look at some of these. We'll just put in a prejet, I think, there. Over to pattern mode. Let's just undo that. We'll delete that one. Try that again. Once again. Just set this to our drum. drum again. And we just keep going. I really just want to kind of show just how fluid this is, you know, how quick and easy you can get sounds in here. Let's maybe grab Tune 3 this time round. Again, in this case, I think we're going to double that twice with the overdub on. And there you go. Now we could also add in some effects and things pretty quickly as well. You can do automation on these clips too. So if we were to go and just add in, we'll go with Bitwig, and we'll just grab Polymer. We can disable the sub and the turn the noise balance onto full. So all we need to do is just record this one. Double the content twice, come in here, and just delete those notes. Just extend that one. Another quick way to extend this is to just add a note at the end of this, and if you select any of these and use Control-Shift-Alt, you'll do legato mode, which will pull the notes right to the end, and then you can just delete one of those. That works really well, obviously, when you've got more notes in there too. And then you can hit the A key, which will give you the automation page for the clips. And this is not automation on the actual track view. We want to, for instance, adjust the cutoff here so we can draw in some automation just on this clip itself. Double that again, actually, and we'll just remove that automation for that section. We may want to adjust the volume. Actually, I don't even think the volume will be necessary. We can come back here. We can add some dynamics again on this one. Device input. Kick. EQ. And what we should also remember to do is when you're doing these effects is to actually open up the effects page here on the Polymer device and actually load them up as nested effects. Because a really cool part with this clip window is when it comes to actually editing in the track page here later on, we can actually also stick in a reverb here too. And we should probably put the reverb before the dynamics. Sorry, I do need to hit OK first. There we go. And let's just adjust the position of those. I should also mention that you can move around these pretty easily in plugin mode. You can just highlight those using the buttons at the top of the screens here. And once we've done that and we want to bring stuff into the arrange page, you can bring this as an audio copy from this clip view, just holding down Alt. And you can just drop that right in when you start arranging. And to get into the range page is pretty simple as well. You just want to click here and it'll just switch over to using whatever's in this section as opposed to the clips. And anytime you can just sort of enable one of these clip modes here too. So it'll be playing from here now, but we'll be playing the hats from that side. And let's go back to the clip view again. So you can see I'm not going to carry on for too much longer. We'll do a couple of these over the course of time, like actual tracks that I'm working on. But I mean, this is really how I get started with most of my stuff at the moment now. It's super quick, super fluid, super easy to use. And you've seen in about 15 minutes, we've got a little idea already going. We want to just make sure that we are playing all of these. And there you have it. So that is the Maschine integration with Bitwig. You can also set this up that you can actually use Maschine as a MIDI device here. It's very similar to the Cubase Maschine workflow that I did on the channel. Slightly different when it comes to the routing. I find that most of the time when I'm using Maschine, I'm using it more just as a sample browser, and I'll often just use it to browse through the kits. And to do that, obviously just hit out of that MIDI mode. Now we're in Maschine mode, and we can obviously use our browsers now to go through some of the libraries included with Complete. And if I find sounds in here, I'll just record them into Maschine now instead. So you'll see that sequence is happening inside Maschine now. If I want to bring that into Bitwig to use, I've just double clicked to create a blank clip here. What I can do now is I can just hold down Alt and copy that. Now I've got an audio clip that I can use instead, and that's now rendered inside a Bitwig that I can use along with my pattern that I have going. So that's pretty much how I'm using Maschine now. Just going to browse through sounds, use some of the libraries that are available there. You can also get any of those sounds on the Complete Control as well at the touch of a button if you just load up Complete Control and switch over to the Samples menu. Great, so I'm going to cut it there, but you can see how quick and easy it is to do this. It's very hands-on, which I really, really enjoy. Just this initial phase of getting a track started for me, this is absolute gold, the way that this whole setup works currently. I'm very, very happy with the way that this is functioning at the moment. Of course, the only issue with this is that I do end up with hundreds of unfinished sketches at the end of the day. Cool, so I'm going to cut it there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Please do check out the Patreon page. All my samples moving forward are going to be available there on a subscription basis. You can join for as long as you want. As soon as you're a member, you can download everything that is uploaded. Currently, there is stuff for Dune and Jupiter 8V, with more stuff from Diva and Zebra coming shortly in the next week or so. So do stay tuned. I'll let you guys know when there's new stuff on the channel, or subscribe to the Patreon. You'd be supporting the channel as well. So much appreciated for the support. Cool. I'll catch you guys soon in another video. See you then. Cheers.